Casino. Frankie Valli has produced 19 top 10 hits and sold over 100 million records worldwide. After 4 decades, Frankie Valli continues to woo audiences, making him one of rock and roll's most enduring performers. Don't miss this opportunity to see Frankie Valli live at Niagara Falls View Casino. Tickets are available at the Falls View box office or any Ticketmaster location. Frankie Valli, May 10th and 11th, live at Niagara Falls View Casino.
It looks like the cost of your next trip could depend on your diet plan. The Brian Van Miller Business. Last week I reported about the pay weight proposal from a Norwegian economist. He suggested airlines charge passengers based on how little or how much they weigh. Now at least one airline is taking off with the idea. According to Samoa Air's latest schedule, the airline charges 57 cents for every half-pound on domestic flights and $1.03 for every half-pound on international flights. This means a 330-pound person would pay just over $150 for a one-way international flight. Children under 12 will charge their percentage of the adult fares. And if your luggage is also packed with pounds, each overweight bag will cost as much as you do. The airline CEO says customer feedback's been pretty positive. Says most people end up traveling for a lot less than they would pay with another airline. We know a vacation could be more about counting calories than saving money. Brian Van Miller, CBS News.
Here's Sandy Beach, weekdays 3 till 6. News Radio 930 AM, 107.7 FM, WBEN.
Susan could not have been in a worse situation. She's retired. She is past the age of working every day. She divorced late in life. Only after her divorced husband passed away did she realize that he left her with hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal and state back taxes. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Each of the 4 lawyers that she hired to help her resolve the issue and clear her name, including her divorce lawyer, all took her borrowed money, but they didn't do anything. Not really to help her. So she listens to this program, and she called Tax Resolution Services. It took several months, but in the end, the issues with both the IRS and the state taxing authorities were fixed. They were resolved without her paying a single penny, even though there were hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes, penalties, and compounded interest. But she didn't pay a single penny. How did they do it? How did Tax Resolution Services do it? Well, they learned the facts. They were straightforward, honest, sincere, interested in resolving the problem. And in the process, they helped a retired woman look forward to the rest of her life without a black cloud hanging over her head. It's not that they got her out of what she was obligated to pay. The mistake was that she never did really owe the stuff. That's what was learned. It's not that somebody pulled some shenanigans and got the IRS to forget what it was all bumped up in the first place because of the divorce. She never owed it. That's what they figured out at Tax Resolution Services. So if you owe $20,000 or more to the IRS, if you're under audit, what Susan was, you call them. Tax Resolution Services, 1-866-IRS-PROBLEMS is the number. 866-IRS-PROBLEM. That's Tax Resolution Services. Here's Peter, Las Vegas. Welcome, sir. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Bush. From my research on this sequester thing, that's taking money away from the FAA, and that's supposed to increase the money that was already in the budget, so the money was already there, and the sequester is just this minimal amount of money. And why are they asking these people to take furloughs, and then, if they did ask them to take furloughs, why isn't the military being used to fill in the gaps?
since they're not flying on time, this is a question. Who made that happen? Republicans made it happen. That's Judge Obama's idea. You're right. It's an inconsequential amount of money. It's easily replaced. There are pennies and dimes they can find throughout this budget to not spend. It wouldn't affect anything because there's so many redundant programs that are choosing these things.
That's correct. Hey, listen, the event in West Texas has been overshadowed by what's happening in Boston, and I've lived in Boston for a while, and my heart goes out to those people. But the tragic event in West Texas basically destroyed the firehouse, and most of the firemen were killed there. In fact, even one of the fire chiefs from Dallas was killed there. That went in to try and save the people. And what I've been asking people on eBay to do that have had vehicles for sale, emergency vehicles or fire trucks, instead of selling them, maybe that they can donate them to the people in West Texas. So if I was able to get on air here with you today, if there's anybody out there that has a fire truck collecting dust anywhere, an ambulance, can you please get it down to Mr. George Smith, that's the head of West Texas Emergency Services.
Are you saying this is Waco, you mean, right?
No, the town was actually West Texas.
Oh, not West Texas.
It's next to Waco. And Waco also was affected. And they all lost many, many vehicles. And of course they lost 35 people that we know now that's died in the explosion. But most of those people who died were first responders.
Yeah, but there's no way to blame this on America or Republicans, so it's not getting a lot of attention. So I'm glad you brought some to it. You might be surprised at what you end up getting here, Peter, with your request. This audience comes through in ways that you cannot imagine. Laurie in Pittsburgh. We go back to Pittsburgh. Great to have you on the EIB network. Hi.
Hi, Rush. I wanted to bring up something I've been thinking about. Is there a possibility that what's happening with Ross, I can't say their name because I'll brutalize them, that it could be like generational envy or generational envy or generational guilt? And let me explain that. It's a theory I have. Like, I can use Barack Obama as an example. Up until he was an 18-year-old in high school, going to that private school, he was very surrendered. Then he became aware. He wanted to get down with the struggle. He started, there's multiple things where he then, because the generational envy he felt of not being part of the 60s and radical and protesting and all the things going on there, he, in his own way, took the path of socialism and became a radical in his own way.
Now, folks, before you have a connection here, there is something to this. Obama himself has spoken of regretting missing living in the 60s.
Exactly, generational envy.
The tumult, he wished he would have been around when that was happening. He has spoken.
Yes, and you can apply that to these two brothers.